Yeah, I like it. I like engaging in the audience. I like being able to walk around. And you like walking around on stage.
Yeah.
It's very different than public speaking behind a podium. To me, is a very different experience and probably would create a lot more anxiety for me than to be able to walk around and be comfortable. And I think also the content. I really like what I talk about. I really believe in what I talk about. You've heard me talk about it.
Yep.
I feel like I know it front ways and sideways and backwards. And remember the Q&A session at your particular event that I spoke at? I got a couple of curveballs and they were great and they were fun to deal with, and that feeds me and helps me build a little bit for the next time that I get to speak.
Surprise! We haven't left yet. I don't know if this is episode 3. Stronger Conversations. Jason,
I know what it is.
Yeah, what is it?
But I think that we talked about how much I love college basketball, and there's nothing better than an overtime game in college basketball. So let's call it tied at the end of episode 2.
Yes.
And this is our overtime.
This is overtime. This is the war to settle the score. I don't know what we're settling, but there's just so much to talk to you about. You're just a fascinating guy to me that I wanted to talk to you about some other things outside of maybe your linear job.
Sure.
That we were talking about here in terms of your story. So one of the things I know to be true about you, public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
You're really, really good at it.
Thank you.
And I don't know if I don't want to call you a natural. Mm-hmm. I really don't like when people say, oh, you're a natural. Mm-hmm. And the reason it can be true, but the reason I don't like it is I think it actually dismisses the amount of work that goes into being a good public speaker, an effective public speaker. And you are very much an effective public speaker. So you very well could be a natural, but I think you're a very hardworking, effective public speaker.
Didn't come natural to me personally. In fact, I just remembered one of our very first interactions was we were walking in Denver after, and you're like, hey, I have some feedback for you. Like, you leveraged the tool, and then you talked to me a bit about my speaking. You gave me some great pointers, and I've been fortunate to have another mentor in this space, and she's been great. And yeah, I was paranoid to do it for a long time. And it evolved over time, and then I had a couple of opportunities to speak to a little larger audiences, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things I feel like I'm giving back a little bit, like your story in the first episode about how my discussion about feedback changed who you are as a person. What means something to me. I don't want to talk about, I wouldn't want to get up on stage and talk about Arizona basketball because it's not going to change anybody's life, but talking about, a culture of accountability,
right,
or whatever else there is to talk about is meaningful to me. So I like it. I enjoy it, and I hope to do more of it later in my career as I think about what those next phases are. Not that I'm in any hurry to stop doing what I'm doing today, but I do enjoy it. And I've had the opportunity to speak to your team. Was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It was a great audience, and have had some others along the way. I've got some stuff coming up this fall, so it'll be fun.
Excellent. So you mentioned you were, do you still get nervous when right before you talked about box breathing? Mm-hmm. We had lunch earlier. So you have a process that gets you in the moment. Mm-hmm. Do you still get nervous? Is it anxiety? Is it a good nervousness? What is it?
It is a good nervousness, but not an overwhelming. That's the change for me, has been working through it being all-consuming to being a bit prepared for it and getting through just that first, your comedian, you get on stage, you get through that first 3 or 4 seconds and everything's fine. So
the difference for me from being a comedian versus a public speaker, very similar skill sets. Mm-hmm. Being a comedian, people think you're very extroverted. And I keep pointing out to people, think of the environment that you see stand-up comedy in. It's a dark room with a spotlight on the person on stage, and you cannot see anybody in the audience. You can only hopefully hear laughter. Mm-hmm. It is very much a one-way conversation. It is one of the most introverted things you can do in terms of public speaking. I always look at stand-up comedy as the graffiti of the performing arts. Some people look at it and go, that's art, and other people go, that's disgusting. It should never occur. Mm-hmm. Public speaking, facilitating those conversations, usually well-lit facilities, usually. It could be high ceilings, low ceilings. I guess you could walk into any really environment there. Yeah. It's not as controlled. You don't have as much control as a public speaker, in my opinion. You're kind of showing up to a hotel, or you're showing up to these other areas. That to me is much more extroverted, much more so.
It is, and extroverting is comfortable for me. So I like it. I like engaging in the audience. I like being able to walk around. And you like walking around on stage.
Yeah.
It's very different than public speaking behind a podium to me is a very different experience and probably would create a lot more anxiety for me than to be able to walk around and be comfortable. And I think also the content. I really like what I talk about. I really believe in what I talk about. You've heard me talk about it.
Yep.
I feel like I know it front ways and sideways and backwards. And remember the Q&A session at your particular event that I spoke at? I got a couple of curveballs and they were great and they were fun to deal with, and that feeds me and helps me build a little bit for the next time that I get to speak.
And that's where it goes back to the natural versus hardworking, because you could have both, but you thought about what could happen if. It wasn't just off the cuff. It wasn't like, oh, that took me by surprise and I handled it well. It was, this might happen, and if so, I'm going to handle it.
Yeah, you have to be to prepare for all those particular things that could happen and what could go wrong. And there are lessons learned. Each time I've spoke, I'm very early on in that part of my life, and I take away a little bit each time. I debrief with my mentor each time. I take notes on things to prepare for next time, and so it's great listening to her because she's, you almost have to experience some of these things as a speaker to know how to put those away in your memory bank so that if you run across it again. So
let's switch gears. Something else that you're passionate about. Golf.
Golf. Love golf.
Do you watch golf?
I do watch some golf. I mean, I'll watch the Masters. We're recording Masters week, so the Masters I'll watch. I watch all the big stuff. I love to play golf. I played golf since I was 11 or 12 years old. I've played in high school. I've been pretty good a few times in my life. I'm at the stage of my life where I don't play enough or have any time to practice that I'm nearly as good as I used to be. So, but I just love it. It's just such a great sport, such a fun environment to be out there.
What's your favorite part about golf, being on the golf course? I mean, some people say drinking with their buddies or whatever. Well, what is it for you that you go, I'm going to go do that again?
I think there was a point where it was setting, scoring well and being really focused in doing that. And it is a morph to me. It's a social game now. Yeah. I enjoy hanging out I like to play golf with people I like. Does that make sense? Yeah. I enjoy playing. I've got a group in this industry that I get to play with a couple times a year, and I really enjoy and look forward to those times together. It's hard in today's world to have that time where you can really shut some things off and just focus on something different and get out of that mindset.
And it is an investment in people. If you're on a golf course for 18 holes, depending on your skill level, that's 3.5 to 5.5 hours.
Yes, you're getting a good chunk of time with somebody. So you want to enjoy their company.
I only golf with other left-handed people because otherwise it's a pain in the butt to be in that cart and I'm over here and they're over here and they're like, we got to go get your ball now. I'm like, well, it is further if that helps. Yeah. What's your favorite club? What's your favorite part of the actual physical golf game? Do you like the driver? Do you like a chip, pitch and putt? What do you like?
I used to be a great driver of the golf ball back when I was 10 years younger, and so that would have been my favorite club for a really long part of my career. I don't know that I have a favorite club right now. No, my game's a little rusty.
It depends on the hole, right? I like my putter right now.
My putter was great. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm still. I love it. There's nothing beats that sound and the thwack of a nice drive.
True.
It's like
only if you hit it the furthest, though.
Yes. So my ego is so bruised and broken from golf over the years that I just want it to go straight.
Yeah. Well, as you probably figured, I'm a little bit competitive. And so that golf is still the one sport I can still compete in. So there is that other component of I want to win a couple of holes along the way. I want to shoot a respectable score. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Last thing, because we're in overtime. We're getting down to that last minute. And as you know, buzzer beater. Let's talk about maybe the thing that can't help my golf game, and that is AI.
Yes.
I just figured out how to spell AI, so I think I'm coming along. But ChatGPT, you talked about how that's being utilized and how you might use it. So what's going on with AI?
Yeah, we actually just formed a team about a month ago, a team AI inside of TAL, and it's a cross-functional group of individuals that are all tech savvy.
Okay.
And we did a little volunteer call, so we voluntold some people in. We got some volunteers into that group, and the goal of that group is to understand how are we going to leverage what I would call AI and automation as a company. There's lots of options out there. It's an overwhelming world. We use ChatGPT as a company to do some things. I think it's great for what I use it for. I use it for some email summary things and maybe to help write articles and whatnot. But my team uses it for marketing things and presentations, all kinds of cool stuff. And we know how to use it like 1% of what it's capable of. But there are other options out there. There's ways to automate accounts payable, accounts receivable, basic office functions. Who knows where this is going to lead? There's a lot of talk about, there's some tools out there in the AI world to do takeoffs now. I'm sure in the Simpson strong tie world, you are having to understand and figure out how is AI going to integrate into that type of activity, right? Or designing a hangar, a special hangar. So I think as leaders in this industry, we've got to be on the forefront of how do we do this. The cost of the human capital continues to grow. We have to figure out how to make them more efficient, because the price of our products in general, outside of what's going on with the tariff piece, is kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
So a lesson learned out of that. Let me slide in a little lesson learned out of that. I'm having fun with this. The AI. When I think about AI, and I think about what's going on in the world, and we think about all this noise with tariffs and all that, it's an opportunity to focus on what we can control. Mm-hmm. We can lean into and focus on how we make AI work for us, and that's something we can control. We can't focus on things like tariffs. We can't control what's going to happen in the government. We can't control what's happening with interest rates and building permits and all those other pieces and parts. But as an industry, we can lean heavier into technology than I think we do today, and we can control that journey and make our people more efficient and effective and allow them to morph over time with those tools and support them as individuals, so that as these jobs become more and more demanding, we're at the forefront of that. So it'd be interesting to see where this industry goes in the next 10 or 15 years on the technology side. We've historically not been great.
No.
And it'd be nice to see if we can leverage this in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I was told at one point that our industry is about 20 years behind society when it comes to technology, and I think that's true.
Yeah, I believe so too.
I actually asked AI, and they agreed.
They agreed.
Yeah.
It agreed.
This is why I'm never going to debate you on anything. I'm just going to say he's right, because that was like a very professional CEO type answer, and a very good one. I use ChatGPT to roast my friends.
Nice.
That's all I use it for.
It does a good job of that too.
It does a fantastic job of that. I think we're going to do that at dinner tonight.
I think we should. I think maybe we could find a place to do a open mic night tonight, and we'll write a ChatGPT driven dual comedy routine.
There's a couple of comedy clubs in Portland, not too far from here, where I'm not allowed back. So we'll have to find one of those open mics.
Well, you write it and I'll do it.
There you go. So you'll get a little bit more stage time.
Let's do it.
And I can figure out how to use ChatGPT for all the right reasons. So, all right. Well, thank you. Buzzer beater. I'm hearing it over there. The shot clock is done. That's a little bit of overtime with Jason Blair.
Hey.
Easy peasy.